Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate and today I will be teaching you how to paint this easy winter watercolor wreath. Let's get started. To start out with this painting, we are first going to grab something circular. So I'm going to take this lid and I'm going to place it in the middle of my paper. And then I'm going to grab a pencil. I'm going to hold down the center of the lid, and then with light pressure, let's start at the top, you're going to just draw a light circle around the lid. And this is going to be the guideline for our wreath. So just like that, and then you are going to take an eraser and just very lightly erase that line. Because you still want to see the guideline of the circle, but you do not want that dark line to be very visible. Alright, and then what we're going to do is we are going to, actually, one part I forgot, we're going to erase this top part. So we're going to leave a gap in the center at the top between our wreath, so it's not going to fully meet. And then with our pencil, we're going to draw a bow at the bottom. So I'm going to draw a little square for the center, and then I'm going to draw 2 triangles on either side. And then I'm going to draw some ribbon coming down, which is kind of like a rectangle, and then I do 2 little points at the end. And then I'm going to do the same thing with our bow. I'm going to lightly erase it so I can still see where it is. But again, when I start using my watercolors, it's not going to be really, the pencil marks aren't going to show through. Sorry, I could not get that out. Alright, so we are going to now take our small detail brush, and I already have created my palette here off to the side, so I have all those colors in my palette. And we are going to begin by just creating little light lines going around. And those are going to be our pine tree needles. This wreath is going to be made up completely of pine needles. So with the tip of your brush, I'm using a light green paint to start. I'm just going to start creating a little pattern like that. So just quick lines that start out wide and then get smaller as you go. So I'm going to try to do it where I have one start and stop, and then I'm going to switch over to my darker color. Do the same process. Do another one of my darker color. And that's the nice thing about having this pencil line, is that I can follow it all the way around, and I don't have to wonder about, I can just make sure I stay in a circle. I'm not worrying about it ended up being weird or creating some weird shape. So I switched back to my lighter color, and I'm just going to go back and forth between the two, and then once it dries, you'll see I'm going to go back in with the darker color everywhere to kind of just give some depth. Alright, so there we're going to leave it because we want that gap. So now I'm going to go on this other side, and I'm just going to create that exact same pattern. Then I'm going to finish off this side right there, so a little space. And just like that. So you can see how I have a gap in the middle that I'm not going to fill in, and just kind of give it that extra detail to make it kind of stand apart from other wreaths. So we're going to wait for these leaves to dry, and then we're going to come back in with a darker tone. So now that my first layer of leaves has dried, I have mixed together a little bit more of Payne's gray and then the contrasting color of green, which is red, to my previous paint mixtures to add a darker layer on top of the leaves we already created. So I'm going to start on the same side in the same pattern, and I'm just going to add some darker lines right on top, just to build on what we already did. You don't want to cover up everything completely. You just want to add a layer on top to it. You don't really want to, you still want to be able to see the color that you just did. So I'm just going to skip over this section and keep going with the same color that I have. So this color, I just added a little bit of red to my green mixture to make it a little bit more of an olivey tone. Just like that. I'm going to go to the other side. And come up to the top. And to get really thin lines, I'm trying to use very light pressure and not push down on my brush too much. Okay, I'm going to clean my brush off. And then I'm going to go in with a darker bluish green paint, so I just added a little bit more Payne's gray to this color to make it a little bit darker. And we're going to do the same thing by just adding a little bit more of those quick lines to that second layer. All right, and there's our second layer of pine needle leaves. And lastly, to finish off this wreath, we are going to take our small brush again, and we are going to dip it into our crimson paint, and we are going to fill in our bow. So I'm going to start by filling out the edges, but the key to this is I want to leave some white space. I don't want it to be completely filled in. So I started with a thick wash on the edges, and then I took my brush and I cleaned off most of the paint, and now with some clean water, I'm gonna blend that in and down. I'm gonna leave a little bit of space between this side and the center of the bow. So I'm gonna just leave that for a second. I'm gonna go do the same thing to the other side. So I'm thick wash, I'm applying to the border, and then I'm cleaning my brush off and then using clean water to blend it inward. You don't want any harsh lines. It's just, with watercolor, it's always nice to see some dead space. Okay, and I'm going to take that thick wash again to the center. Do it similar. Clean it off. Blend it in. I'm going to kind of let this touch, but not completely. And then I'm going to take a light wash down here. It's always nice with things like this, that have this kind of tiny detail, to have brushes that come back to a point. If you would like to check out this same kind of brushes that I use, I will have a link in the description box below where I will send you a link to go check out my supply list, and over there you'll be able to see these exact same brushes and where I got them. Alright, just like that, we have our bow. To finish off this wreath, we are going to add some red splatter over the entire thing. So I'm going to load up my size 6 round brush with a lot of water and a lot of paint. And I'm just going to, very close to the painting, tap in sharp splatter lines. I'm going to bring it in a little bit more toward the center. And there you have an easy winter watercolor wreath. Hey everyone, thanks for painting with me today. I hope you found this watercolor tutorial helpful. If you did, please subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up. This is going to be one of 3 watercolor wreath tutorials, so you don't want to miss the other 2 that are coming up. I'll see you again soon. Bye.